all across GTA and the Peel region, there have been many, many rallies. Have you attended any of those rallies yourself?
I've been helping some of the organizers, some of the permits. Some people wanted to do some demonstrations.
In the last several weeks, there have been many, many rallies in and around Brampton. Were you able to attend any of those rallies or protests in GTA or in Brampton?
Well, because of COVID, everything is on lockdown, so we're in the gray zone. But I was driving along Beauvert and I had my windows down and I was honking my horn in support.
Honorable Doug Ford has not said a word about anything what's happening in India. What do you say on that?
You know, he needs to step up. The Prime Minister has stepped forward and mentioned his concerns.
There have been many, many demonstrations, protests, car rallies all over Canada, especially in GTA and also in your riding. Have you attended any of those rallies?
I have thought about it, Mr. Grewal, about attending rallies. That is something I used to regularly do when I wasn't a member of Parliament.
Big guest strikes going on in India due to the farmers' protest. I want to hear your comments on the farmers' protest going on in India.
The world should not in any way tolerate the violence that's being perpetrated by the Modi government.
ਯੂਕੌਨ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ BC ਤੱਕ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਵੱਡੀਆਂ ਰੈਲੀਜ਼ ਨਿਕਲੀਆਂ, ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਇਨ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਆਫ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਇਨ ਇੰਡੀਆ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਜਾਂ ਰੈਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਦੀ ਸ਼ਮੂਲੀਅਤ ਕੀਤੀ?
COVID-19 ਐਂਡ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੋਈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹ ਗਰੇਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ।
Welcome to the Grewalz Show. I'm your host, Gurinder Singh Grewal. Aap sab nu sat sri akal. Today I have Ms. Ruby Sahota, Member of Parliament, Liberal, Brampton North, in our studio through Skype. Welcome, Ruby, to the Grewalz Show.
Thank you, Mr. Grewal. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Well, just for everybody's information, I want to tell our viewers that you're a second term Member of Parliament from Brampton North, which is good news. And as we all know, nowadays, for the last several weeks, the world is watching what's going on in New Delhi and around New Delhi. I want to hear your thoughts on whatever you see on TV or on social media in regards to the human rights issues being totaled all over India itself now.
Yes, Mr. Grewal, it's obviously very concerning to all of the diaspora of India. And I know many people of many backgrounds and faiths that have said that they were disturbed by the images that they saw of water canyons, of batons, or seniors being hit by batons. It's extremely upsetting, extremely concerning. And I know that especially those that are from Haryana and Punjab have been reaching out to me, my office, and I've had others as well, for sure, reach out and give their thoughts and sympathies. And we do have many of us in Parliament and in this country that are connected to India still, whether it is through family or friends or having an ancestral home there. Many of us visit India. We love that country since it is, we have our roots there. Even though I am born and raised in Canada, my parents often brought us back to India so that we would be connected to where we come from. And so when anything happens there, we know that those that live in Canada are always watching. And we've seen that also in the UK and many different European countries, in the US. Anywhere there are Indian diaspora, there are people concerned. And that is why we raised this issue. And it's not a partisan issue. It was a bipartisan, cross-partisan issue in our Parliament that was raised by all of us. And I think many authorities have said that it is inappropriate for our Prime Minister to raise the issue, but I don't think it is inappropriate at all when constituents, a large constituency in Canada, is worried about what happens in India or what happens in Hong Kong or what happens in Nagorno-Karabakh or what happens in South America or many countries. We always speak out in about human rights and people's, definitely in Canada, we have the right to peaceful assembly. And we know that there are issues that arise in this country too, but of course, we will always speak out for those issues as well. So I don't think the sensitivity that was shown after our concern, that's all that was behind our words, is just genuine concern for the people and their safety. And I think that the reaction that some had was a little surprising and a little blown out of proportion because
so let me go back.
Canada's always been known.
So let me go back to the comments which our Right Honourable Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had given out, and then there was a backlash from India and the Indian diplomats. What's your take on that?
My take on that is exactly what I'm saying, that Canada's always been known for as a country that speaks in favor of human rights around the world. And, there were some that were arguing that Canada has no place to speak. And I absolutely, disagree with that assertion. Canada absolutely has the right to speak about human rights anywhere in the world. And so do our citizens. And so, and we do. I'm a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. And what do you think what issues do we study there? We often study human rights issues around the world. And that is why we have consulates, and that's why we have international relations with other countries, because although we have strong ties with India, we have good diplomatic relations, we have trade with India. I think through those channels, we also need to be able to bring up issues of concern when they arise. And so we rightfully did so, and did so through the proper channels. And of course, even the comments made by the Prime Minister on the day of a Gurpurb event, a virtual event that we hosted, they were made not for any other purpose, but because we had many concerned Canadians that were on that Zoom call that day that had requested wanting to speak about that issue and wanting to hear our thoughts on the issue, because like I said, Canadians are genuinely concerned. Everyone that I know has been watching, very daily. They wake up and they want to see what happens, and people are really worried. And as it's getting colder, it's very difficult to see our seniors out there. But at the same time, I would say, it also makes us very proud to see that people are practicing their democratic rights.
Now, the country where we live, Ruby, there have been many demonstrations, protests, car rallies all over Canada, especially in GTA and also in your riding. Have you attended any of those rallies?
I have thought about it, Mr. Grewal, about attending rallies. That is something I used to regularly do when I wasn't a member of Parliament. I was, in my younger years, an activist. But when you become a member of Parliament, you're given other channels to voice your concerns. So although I think it's everyone's right to go out and rally, as long as they are also following public safety guidelines and public health concerns, at the same time, we do need to make sure that people are safe at the end of the day. I have other channels, right? I was able to give a statement in the House of Commons, one of our highest places in the country. I was able to talk to the Foreign Affairs Minister. I was able to talk to other parties about this issue and my constituents about it, and also in communications with Indian officials here on the ground as well. So I'm very lucky that the people of Brampton North have given me that opportunity to have those direct connections, and I'm going to continue to advocate in the way that I can best advocate.
Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for being on the Grewalz show. ਅੱਜ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਕਾਈਪ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਸੁਖ ਧਾਲੀਵਾਲ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਮੈਂਬਰ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਦੇ, ਨਿਊਟਨ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਜਿੱਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਤੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ MP ਰਹੇ ਹੋਏ ਧਾਲੀਵਾਲ ਸਾਹਿਬ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਗ੍ਰੇਵਾਲ ਸ਼ੋ।
ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਗੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਗਰੇਵਾਲ ਜੀ, ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ।
ਧਾਲੀਵਾਲ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਦੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਤਰੀਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਈ ਹਫ਼ਤਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਨਿਊ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਵੀ ਉਠਾਏ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਵਾਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੀ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ?
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਸਹੀ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਟੱਚ ਕੀਤਾ। ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਪੀਸਫੁਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ, ਔਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਪੀਸਫੁਲ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਫੰਡਾਮੈਂਟਲ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟ ਹੈਗਾ। ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ 'ਚ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਸ ਤੇ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਹੋਇਆ, ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਵਾਟਰ ਕੈਨਨ ਸੀਗੇ, ਚਾਹੇ ਅਥਰੂ ਗੈਸ ਛੱਡਣੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਲਾਠੀ ਚਾਰਜ ਕਰਨਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਉਲੰਘਣਾ ਹੋਈ। ਔਰ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਸੀ। ਔਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ, ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਪੀਸਫੁਲ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਉਲੰਘਣਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਨੇ, ਇਹਦੇ ਅਫੀਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਨੇ ਕੀਤੀ। ਉਹ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਦਾ ਠੇਸ ਪਹੁੰਚੀ, ਔਰ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਹੋਏ, ਔਰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਵਾਰ-ਵਾਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਐਕਸਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕੰਸਰਨ।
ਸੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਰਾਈਟ ਆਨਰੇਬਲ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਦਿੱਤੇ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਤੇ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਡਿਪਲੋਮੈਟਸ ਨੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਕਿ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ। ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ?
ਦੇਖੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਵੀ ਕੰਸਰਨਡ ਸੀਗੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੋਰਨ ਅਫੇਅਰ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਸ਼ੈਂਪੇਨ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕੰਸਰਨਡ ਆ, MP ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਆਲ ਸਾਈਡ ਲਿਬਰਲ, ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ, NDP ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਇਹ 'ਤੇ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਸੀ। ਔਰ ਵਧੀਆ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਹੋਈ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਐਕਸਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕੀਤੇ ਕੰਸਰਨ, ਔਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅਫੀਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡਰਾਵੇ ਵੀ ਦਿੱਤੇ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਧਮਕੀਆਂ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਧਮਕੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਨੂੰ ਪਰੇ ਨਕਾਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਜਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ਾਂ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਪੀਸਫੁਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਤੇ ਪੀਸਫੁਲ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਡਾਇਲੋਗ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ, ਤਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਨਾਲ ਖੜਾ। ਔਰ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆ ਇਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਬੜੇ ਮਾਣ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਉਸ ਲੀਡਰ ਦੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ, ਉਸ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਦੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ ਉਹ ਚੁਣਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਨੁਮਾਇੰਦਾ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਵਧੀਆ ਢੰਗ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਹਾ, ਔਰ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਇੱਕ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ ਵੈਸਟਰਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ ਉਹ ਲੀਡਰ ਹੈ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ ਸਟੈਂਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਲਿਆ। ਸੋ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਇਹ ਐਕਨੋਲੇਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਐਫਰਟਸ। ਔਰ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੋਰ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਆਫ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਤਿੰਨੇ ਪਾਰਟੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ, NDP ਤੇ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਹਿਯੋਗ ਪਾਇਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ।
ਤੇ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਯੂਕੌਨ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ BC ਤੱਕ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਵੱਡੀਆਂ ਰੈਲੀਜ਼ ਨਿਕਲੀਆਂ, ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਇਨ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਆਫ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਇਨ ਇੰਡੀਆ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਜਾਂ ਰੈਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਦੀ ਸ਼ਮੂਲੀਅਤ ਕੀਤੀ?
ਦੇਖੋ, COVID-19 ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੋਈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹ ਗਰੇਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ। ਪਰ ਇਹ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦਾ ਦਾਅਵੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ, ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟਰੀ ਸੈਕਟਰੀ ਰੋਬਰਟ ਫਾਂਟ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ, ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਦੇ ਆਫਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ, ਉੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਔਰ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਾਕਸ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਦੇ ਕਾਕਸ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਨਫੈਕਟ ਕੈਵਨ ਲਮਰੂ ਵਰਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਆਫ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਸੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਰ-ਵਾਰ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਫੋਨ 'ਤੇ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਰਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਟੈਂਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਪੀਸਫੁਲ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਮੰਗਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਤੱਕ ਲਿਜਾ ਸਕਣ। ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲਾਠੀ ਚਾਰਜ ਹੋਈ, ਅਥਰੂ ਗੈਸ ਛੱਡੇ, ਟੀਅਰ ਗੈਸ ਛੱਡੀ, ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਹਿਰਦਾ ਬਲੂੰਦਿਆ। ਟਵਿੱਟਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ, ਫੇਸਬੁੱਕ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਮੌਕਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਂ ਪੋਸਟ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਦੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕੀਤੀ। ਕੱਲ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆਪਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਇਨਫੈਕਟ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਟੇਬਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਫੂਡ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਘਿਨਾਉਣੀ ਹਰਕਤ, ਔਰ ਪਰਟੀਕੁਲਰਲੀ ਸੀਨੀਅਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ਨਸ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਲਾਠੀ ਚਾਰਜ ਕਰਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਘਿਨਾਉਣੀ, ਇੱਕ ਬੜੀ ਦਿਲ ਨੂੰ ਸੱਟ ਲਾਉਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਹਰਕਤ ਹੈ। ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹੀ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਲੋਕ ਨਹੀਂ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਬੋਰਨ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹ ਕੰਸਰਨਡ ਸੀਗੇ। ਔਰ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਗੋਰੇ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੇਨ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਬੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਹਿਮ ਯੋਗਦਾਨ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਰੈਲੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਉਠਾਉਣ 'ਚ, ਔਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਔਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਆਪ ਕੰਸਟੀਟੂਐਂਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਵੱਡੀ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਇਹ ਐਪਰੀਸ਼ੀਏਟ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਐਜ਼ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਆਫ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਆਪਦਾ ਫਰਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ ਉਹ ਨਿਭਾਇਆ, ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਇਨਕਰੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਦਿੱਤੀ। ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਵਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਹੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਥ੍ਰੈਟਸ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਜਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਧਮਕੀ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦਿਆਂਗੇ, ਉਹ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ। ਮੈਂ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਤੇ ਬੈਠਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਟ੍ਰੇਡ ਐਗਰੀਮੈਂਟ ਸਾਈਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਦੂਜੇ ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਆਈ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਵੇ, ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਵਿਮਨ ਦੀ, LGBTQ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀ, ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਮੇਕ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਗਰੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰੈਸਿਵ ਐਗਰੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਹੋਣ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਇਹ ਮੁੱਢਲੀਆਂ ਕਦਰਾਂ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਦਰਾਂ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਨੇ, ਔਰ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ। ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਧੜੱਲੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਪ੍ਰਤੀਕਰਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਾਹਰ ਕੀਤਾ, ਤੇ ਉਸ ਗੱਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਮਾਣ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰਦਾ।
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਜੀ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਧਾਲੀਵਾਲ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਫॉर ਬੀਇੰਗ ਔਨ ਦ ਗ੍ਰੇਵਾਲ ਸ਼ੋ, ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ। ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਤਹਿ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਗੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਦਾ। ਔਰ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੜਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ, ਦਾਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੜਾ ਹੈ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। Welcome to the Grewalz Show. I'm your host Gurinder Singh Grewal. Aap sab nu sat shri akal. I have Merit Stiles, MPP from NDP of Ontario with me. Merit, welcome to the Grewalz Show.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Merit, as we all know, there's a big guest strikes going on in India due to the farmers' protest. I want to hear your comments on the farmers' protests going on in India.
Well, first of all, I want to express my solidarity and the solidarity of the NDP with the farmers in this protest. Farmers feed the world. Farmers feed our cities. And I know many of us have connections to those farmers and to farming communities. So first of all, solidarity with those farmers. And secondly, the world should not in any way tolerate the violence that's being perpetrated by the Modi government. I hope that the world is watching. And if people aren't watching, I hope they will. I hope they will start paying attention, because it is outrageous and it must stop.
The country where we live in, we love and support our farmers day and night. And if anything ever happens to Canadian farmers, just the Canadian public is behind them. And right now, as you can see, there's a lot of things being done in India, and it is sad to watch those things sitting from so far away. So thank you for your thoughts on this, Merit, and we'll keep you posted if anything changes.
Thank you so much. And also, just my heart is with all of those, the many Ontarians that are terrified for their family and loved ones in India as well.
Well, thank you for your comments, Merit. Today I have, through Skype, Gurpreet Singh Dillon, Regional Councillor, City of Brampton, with me. Welcome, Mr. Dillon, to the Grewalz Show.
Thanks for having me, as always.
Mr. Dillon, as we all know, all across the world, there's been in the news media that in India it's the biggest ever human race strike protest going on. What's your comments on that, being a regional councillor, and what's your City of Brampton comments on that?
Well, just on an international level, I think it's concerning when you have that many people who are protesting. There have been a number of politicians and of different levels of government who have spoken out on it. On a personal level, I can say that I'm from the Punjab area. My family is directly affected by it. And it's something that is a concern to us as well. But on a political side, from the City of Brampton, we've passed a motion that said we're in support of our Brampton residents who are affected by these new policies that are put in place. We've kept the politics out of it. We understand that the Indian government has put forth these bills. They're passed now. They're acts. But what we're saying is that some of the scenes that we've seen on social media where people have been water cannoned, where they have been, physical acts of violence against them, and there have been barricades put up against them. And so that's something we are against. The very origin of India is through peaceful demonstrations, as we see pre-partition. And we're just requesting that the same allowances be given to these protesters now.
Now, as we all know, Mr. Dillon, all across GTA and the Peel region, there have been many rallies in favor of the farmers, of what they're doing and for their rights. Have you attended any of those rallies yourself?
I've been helping some of the organizers get some of their, get throughout the process and helping them get some of their permits. Some people have wanted to do some demonstrations on some of the roads. And the same way we help anybody who wants to protest, we help them out. I've not been at any of the protests myself, just to, because, I have to set an example as well for COVID. But they're taking all the precautions. They're in their cars, and we let them know what the rules are, and so they've been following them for the most part. And like any country, you're allowed to have you're given the democratic right to protest, and these people are exercising their rights right now.
Well, thank you for being here on part of the city of Brampton and yourself on the Grewalz show.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for the great work, Pudgy.
Today I have through Skype Kevin Yard, MPP, NDP Party of Ontario, in my show. Mr. Yard, welcome to the Grewalz show.
Sat Sri Akal. Thank you for having me on your show, Gurinder.
Sat Sri Akal ji, that's very pleasing of you to say that. Kevin, as we all know, all across the world, there have been news outlets which have been covering protests going on all over India, and those protests are based on what farmers have gone through or might have to go through with the new laws in India. But at the same time, when we're watching those news or any clippings on social media, we see a lot of human rights issues being affected. I want to hear from you as an MPP. What's your comments on the whole situation all across India?
Well, we're watching this here in Canada. We're watching it all around the world. And these are protests, but these are peaceful protesters. And unfortunately, what we've been seeing with the Indian government is violence towards these peaceful protesters. We've been seeing tear gas, we've been seeing billy clubs, and the government has to have dialogue with the peaceful protesters. And the Indian government has not been doing that. They've been strong-arming the peaceful protesters, and they are protesting for a legitimate reason.
Now, as we all also heard that your leader, Honorable Andrea Horwath, did comment on this issue also. But having said that, Premier Honorable Doug Ford has not said a word about anything what's happening in India. What do you say on that?
He needs to step up. He needs to voice the concerns of the people of Ontario and the people of Canada. The Prime Minister has stepped forward and mentioned his concerns. But look, what's going on here in India is, as you said, it is a human rights issue. It is a human rights concern. The peaceful protesters are protesting the bill, which, in effect, if it does come through, it will allow corporations to basically undermine the farmers. The farmers know what's going on. The unions know what's going on. And right now, the way things are is fine. But with this new bill, it's going to open it up for corporations to basically victimize these farmers. And the farmers will not get a fair price for their produce. That's the name of the game. They need a fair price for their produce. And with this bill, that's not going to happen.
And as I always say, we live in a country which most of the world wants to come and live in this country, and you're also living here. When we are sitting from the outside, what do you suggest for the farmers to do or the people who are involved in this whole protest to do?
Well, keep up the pressure on the government. You're not alone. You can see you have people around the world here in Canada and the UK, United States, who see what's going on is not right. What the Indian government is doing is not right. These farmers, they put food on our tables. They are we need farmers, and the way they're being treated is wrong, and we need the Indian government to step up and have dialogue with the peaceful protesters. And I have in my community here in Brampton North, many family members who are concerned, who are part of the protests back home. So I'm voicing my concern on behalf of my constituents in Brampton North, and I am with them. And if I didn't speak up, it would be wrong. And the fact I'm speaking up is also the fact that it is the right thing to do. You see, the entire world is seeing what's happening in India. They realize this is, like you said earlier, it's a human rights issue. It's a concern, not just in India, but it's a concern right around the world. The government needs to do the right thing. The right thing is to remove this bill because it's going to hurt the farmers. The farmers know. The farmers' unions, they know exactly what is going on there, and they're not going to get a fair price for their produce if this bill comes through.
Well, thank you for being on our show, and thank you for sharing your thoughts on this. Today I have through Skype Charmaine Williams, Councillor, City of Brampton, with us. Charmaine, welcome to the Grewalz Show.
Hi, good afternoon, Sasrikal, everyone. Great to be here.
Charmaine, as we all know, all around the world, people are watching what's happening in New Delhi and around New Delhi. I'm sure you must have watched the biggest protest in human history happening in New Delhi. We want to hear your comments on that.
Well, I really appreciate all of the information coming out. I have to thank our Punjabi brothers and sisters here in Brampton for protesting here in Brampton and in the GTA, because if it wasn't for their noise, right, necessary noise and speaking out, then we wouldn't really know what's going on over in New Delhi. And so I really appreciate the platform that is here and available to our Punjabi brothers and sisters to raise awareness, because it's absolutely devastating. Some of the images and the things that I've seen coming out of New Delhi, people being beaten with sticks and sprayed with water cannons, and it's awful. Nobody should endure that type of abuse just for fighting for what they believe in and speaking out.
Now, as we all know, we are in year 2020. When you see these things on TV or on social media, what comes to your memories?
Oh, it's devastating. When you see the water cannons, that is what it reminds me of the civil rights movement, where Black brothers and sisters were sprayed with water cannons, men, women, and children sprayed with water cannons, fighting for civil rights. Why is that happening now? I cannot believe that people are still trying to do that just to stop a voice and to stop the government. The government needs the community's voice. That's how government knows what the community thinks about some of the things that they're deciding. That's why protests are there. It's for the public to say something's not right, we need to fix it. So I really am just appalled and very devastated. Water cannons, we shouldn't be doing that to our fellow man at all.
As we all know, City of Brampton has a big Indian population. Your wards have a lot of Indian families living there. What's your whole council, City of Brampton Council or the Mayor's office saying about what's happening in New Delhi?
All of us are very hurt by what we're seeing, and our very large Punjabi community, we love them, we thank them, because we know many are here from those same families that are being impacted and being abused. And so all of us, I think, just really want to see that no one gets hurt at all while they're out there on the front lines and protesting. It must be completely devastating to know that your family back home are being treated so poorly and illy. We just not long ago had a huge protest about the injustice happening in Nigeria. And it was the same experience. I think all of us as human beings, when one of our brothers hurt, we all hurt. And right now, Brampton is hurting right now. And we need to see this type of brutal force to stop a voice, it needs to subside. We need to get back to loving each other and caring for each other.
Now, in the last several weeks, there have been many rallies in and around Brampton, and I'm sure you must have known of them or seen them. Were you able to attend any of those rallies or protests in GTA or in Brampton?
Well, because of COVID, everything is on lockdown, so we're in the gray zone. But I was driving along Bovaird, and I had my windows down, and I was honking my horn in support just over the weekend. So I was there, but it was just something I was compelled to do. It's not like I broadcasted, oh, I'm here, honking my horn and shouting. But and I also have to say a big shout out. I don't know if these two girls will ever know that I'm saying this, but there were two girls at the corner of Sandalwood and Kennedy, and I was so proud of them. I honked my horn and I said, "Keep it up, guys." And they were able to get a few people going, and it was just two young women with a sign saying, "I stand with farmers," and it was just great to see. And that is the kind of unified voices that we need. We need everybody to speak out against injustice. We had Sikh brothers and sisters marching with many Black Bramptonians during the Black Lives Matter march. So, like, again, I say, we're Brampton. We are a community of many different cultures. So if one of us hurts, we all hurt. And that's why we all need to be able to raise our voices and fight for, the right to be able to speak out and speak up as loud as possible.
Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for being on the Grewalz Show.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for everything you're doing to bring awareness and to, speak out and keeping us informed. We need news like you to keep us informed and keep us honest. So I appreciate what you are doing there in your studios, and I wish you all the success and the happiest of holidays.
Thank you.